to a crypto market update. This week was been very interesting week. Market fully dumped. If there was a war between Iran and Israel and USA, I don't give a shit with the war. I ain't gonna lie to you. As long as there's opportunity for us to make some money, that's all that matters. And this upcoming week, like a dump, was it because of the war? Yes, fundamentally, people say it was because of the war, but if you look at the technical ways, how they say it, show me the chart, I'll tell you the news, right? They could say, as you see in the chart, there was a weekly SMT ERL back to IRL. So it didn't make sense for the market to go up higher than this because the market already made the high of the month. As you guys know, monthly influences the weekly, weekly influences the daily, daily influences the 4 hour and hourly. So the monthly is as a as a day trader for the higher time frame matters a lot. So in the monthly time frame we had an open, we made a high which had SMT with the correlated asset, which was Ethereum. Then eventually we're gonna have to make the low, so it needs to go down lower. And my position, actually, unfortunately, I lost 1,200 because of the. I didn't see the SMT. I was like, this shit's so clear to go up higher. I just forgot to check. I just forgot to check. Ethereum. So he fully reversed and hit my stop loss, which was only a 1,200. I did try my stop loss up higher just to reduce that loss if it does go down there, because I don't want to break even. If I break even, what I tend to see is market will hit my entry once again and eventually go up higher, which it did multiple times before going up higher here. If it goes to lower time frame, it tapped my entry more than 2 times before it went to my drawn liquidity, and eventually overall did go in a small loss. But you know what I'm saying, the main point is to not break even, right? That's the main point, because looking on the technical aspect of trading, there was a monthly SMT. So monthly time frame made the high. So open, monthly open candle right over here, monthly open, monthly candle high, and monthly candle close. It needs to make the low here, right? So open, high, low, and eventually needs to close somehow, right? So that's why this bearish price action happened now, not because of the war. The war is just a smoke screen. It just brings in volume. That's all that matters, right? You can see the big dump happened pretty quick, which is very nice because of the, the war. But you could have predetermined this just to the technical analysis, right? So the war just brings in volume, which is very nice. So what do we have for this upcoming week for crypto, for BTC and ETH, XRP, Solana, Total 3, ETH, and Bitcoin dominance? I will highly likely see there being a closure for the next upcoming week. So next week we're probably gonna see some choppy price action due to because of the war. This is where you add the fundamental. The reason I'm saying that is because of you go to the monthly time frame. Monthly time frame candle needs to close the next 8 days. If it needs to close the next 8 days, it needs to go make a low and come back up higher and reset for the next upcoming monthly candle and make this monthly fair value gap. And so we can go from monthly ERL back to IRL and etc. They go up high one more time. Then eventually the next month, which is gonna be the start of the new 3-month candle, we could go project the high and eventually just dump low, and then start the new bear market, right? That's what I think should be happening, because the bull market usually lasts a year and a half or a couple of years, right? 2 to 3 years. In my perspective, I don't care about the bull market. I don't care how long it lasts. I care about when does a bear market start, which starts, in my perspective, next month, which should be the all-time high, and eventually should start dumping, as well as this is based on the halving, right? Halving cycle, which lasts around every 4 years. It comes around. Eventually, after it ends, the bear market will start. The bear market bottom will be ticked in at the hole here. And so there's gonna be a hole here of bear market, right? That's all I gotta fucking know about. So next 3-month candle, I would highly see a monthly IRL back to ERL, eventually tap the 3-month CRT, eventually then go down lower to 3-month CRT low, which is the 75K mark, eventually start the bear market bar from there. I would likely see this fair value gap get inversed then retap the fair value gap, then even go lower to 49K mark potentially. But this is primarily based on the technical side, right? Because through my experience, next month should be the end of the bull market cycle. So now going to the lower time frame to the weekly, which we have right at the moment. We have a weekly IRL right over here, back to ERL. Weekly IRL to ERL, the CRT can be suspected. So our new weekly CRT is going to be this candle. This is going to be our weekly CRT high. And our weekly CRT low hasn't been created yet, but I'm looking for this weekly CRT low to be soup. Eventually they go up higher, tap that 108K mark, tap the new all-time high. But I will highly likely see next week closing very choppy without moving too much, because you just need to manipulate a lot of traders. And eventually the next week after that, when the new start of when the new monthly candle, the 3-month candle comes around, then I'm saying I want to see some bullish price action, tap that all-time high, that eventually just dump lower to start off the bear market. But yeah, that's what we have for Bitcoin. We have a weekly IRL to ERL. Why do I say this ERL, not this candle? Because this SMT and it's we call it, because through price action details, right? As you guys know, Richmond block will cause a retracement, which it did cause a retracement. And eventually now we're looking to target the high of the Richmond block, which is right over here, which that's why we're saying from this weekly IRL to this weekly ERL instead of saying this weekly ERL, right? So all we're waiting for is this weekly candle to close, waiting for this low ticket soup, and eventually going to up over to the high. I mean, our first next week is probably going to be a choppy week, consolidate a lot, then eventually see some bullish price action after that week. But yeah, that's what I have for Bitcoin. Now going over to ETH and Bitcoin dominance. Why do I say that, by the way? Why do I say next week is probably going to be a choppy week? Look at the monthly time frame. The monthly time frame needs to close, right? In the next 8 days. So since it needs to close in the next 8 days, it needs to make a low and close and reset. When it closes and reset, it usually retraces. Then it just chops around until the close. Now going over to Bitcoin and ETH dominance. We have at the moment, if the market could retrace to this monthly IRL, we'll go back from the monthly IRL to monthly ERL. But it all depends on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin goes down, everything else goes down. So Bitcoin needs to go down lower, which if it does go down lower, we can use this monthly CRT right around here as a point push up higher. So I would likely want to see, going back to Bitcoin once again, a weekly CRT low, a monthly CRT low getting soup, monthly IRL to ERL back, as well as a monthly CRT low getting soup, going to monthly high, right? Same thing to Ethereum. Monthly IRL to ERL, as well as increase a monthly CRT. So we could potentially expect it to go up higher. But now go down to lower time frame for Ethereum. We do have this weekly CRT. I do want to see that 50% mark get tapped right around here, which it just got tapped. You can see that 50% mark of the weekly CRT just got tapped, which is usually a threshold. And going back to Bitcoin once again, because if Bitcoin goes down, everything else goes down. If Bitcoin goes up, everything else goes up. So it all matters on Bitcoin. Right over here, Bitcoin. Next week, it's anticipated to be a little bullish week, just to soup out the low and close at a fair price, which needs to go up a little higher. So I would highly likely want to see this candle right over here. We want to see this candle get created, soup of the low, go up higher, eventually then go back down lower, doing another soup down, because this candle needs to close. It close the next 8-day candle, right? Eventually, you have to go from monthly IRL back to ERL, which market needs to go back down lower. Which, when it does go down lower, we could potentially buy around somewhere around 2K mark to 1.7K mark. So this weekly CRT is probably not gonna get respected. I would want to see a deeper retracement down, because Bitcoin will go down lower before it goes up higher. So if it does go down lower, everything else go down lower. So we probably will see this what is it called? This 1700 mark getting tapped potentially, but not very high likely, because you know a Bitcoin goes down a little lower. This is not gonna go all down to 1,700, right? Probably gonna go down to 2,000. Eventually, get some support there. Eventually go up higher with Bitcoin. Now going to over to XRP. We have had this monthly CRT. We have had this monthly CRT for a long time, as well as the 3-month CRT. 3-month CRT look at soup. We're going 3-month CRT high, but if Bitcoin will go down, everything else will go down with it. So I do want to see some sort of OT happen here in the daily time frame. So deleting all of this. We have a 3-month CRT here, so we don't really give a shit about that. We could see some sort of low, high, lower, low, higher, high. We could see some sort of deep retracement down to the 79 to 886, because if Bitcoin goes down, everything else goes down. Eventually from here, we could potentially bounce back up higher and make a new all-time high, then eventually start the bear market, because if the bear market is going to start, it wants everybody to be bullish, right? Just a general rule of thumb. You want people to be erotic and think, okay, you're on top of the world, then eventually the bear market starts. And when everybody's greedy, that's when you should sell. When everybody's feared, that's when you should buy, right? So everybody's right now is feared because of the war. But don't buy right now. Don't catch a falling knife. Wait for it to stop and give you some context. Wait for Bitcoin to give you some context before you decide anything else. Going to Solana. I didn't take this trade. I was just waiting for some sort of confirmation, but I never got the execution on this. But yeah, I did have this trade up, but I didn't execute on it. So yeah. Oops. So for Solana, what we have here is going. Oh shit! No, that's not them. We go to the higher time frame. We have this 3-month CRT, 3-month CRT logo soup, and we also have 3-month key level. So we could potentially expect some sort of a deep OTE, just as XRP. So delete this chart because we have 3-month CRT there, so there's no need of that. We can potentially expect the market to go back down to 0.70 mark, 0.79 mark, do a deep retracement on the OTE, then eventually go up higher from here, attack a new all-time high, or even not. Bitcoin wants to go down, everything will go down. It doesn't need to wait for any other coins, right, to catch up. So now going over to total 3. Same thing here. We have a 3-month CRT here, 3-month IRL, 3-month CRT to the upside. So going down to the daily, we're essentially expecting the same thing here. We're expecting a deep retracement. OTE. I want to see that 79 mark to get tapped potentially to go up higher, because Bitcoin needs to still go down a little lower before going up higher. So that will probably get met. Now going to Bitcoin and ETH. ETH and Bitcoin dominance. On the 12-month time frame with Thomas CRT, this is a monthly market maker model, accumulation, reaccumulation, right? Accumulation, reaccumulation, another reaccumulation. Eventually you can have some sort of SMR. And as well, we have a monthly order block supporting this 12-month CRT, which is a monthly model 1. You got tapped right now. Eventually what we could do here, we could respect it, go up higher. But if Bitcoin's gonna go down, everything else will go down. But once Bitcoin gains momentum to the upside, ETH is probably going to outperform it. It's the altcoin. Right? If Bitcoin goes up, everything else goes up, but harder, right? Simple. So what do we have on a monthly time frame? We have a monthly order block here, supporting the price, which could get respected. Damn, I can't speak straight. Which could get respected and push price up higher, right? But this is the only time it's gonna get respected if Bitcoin shows some bullish price action, right? That's the only time it can get dominance, right? Once that happens, ETH is high likely to outperform Bitcoin, right? Although he's jumping harder, but as a general rule of thumb, if Bitcoin goes up, everything else goes up higher, right? So harder. Pause. I've said it so many times now, but yeah, this is my crypto market update. Thank you for watching. Make sure you guys like, comment, share. Join the description below, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out.